Hello and welcome to Always Bored, Never Boring. HeroQuest shaped my childhood. It completely altered my understanding of what a board game could be and set me on a path that has led to, well, me sitting in my chair right now recording this video. But while HeroQuest was a milestone in that journey, it was not the beginning. 4 years before that fateful Christmas in 1989, I had loved board games. Indeed, if I hadn't, I probably wouldn't have given HeroQuest a second look. And always I leaned more towards accessible, beautiful, deeply thematic games. I didn't care for Monopoly, Cluedo, Ludo and checkers. I was always in search of games that told a story, that created a world of adventure. And at the forefront of publishers releasing the kind of games I loved was Waddingtons. My bedroom cupboard was stuffed with their titles. The Vampire Game, Escape from Atlantis, Bewitched, and one of the finest children's games ever devised, Lost Valley of the Dinosaurs. This is a game for 2 to 4 players that came out in 1985. I was 6 years old and I was obsessed with dinosaurs. I was never happier than when a classic dino action adventure was on the television, and Ray Harryhausen was my hero, his stop motion masterpieces breathing life into the monstrous lizards I loved so much. So of course, when I saw this board game, I had to have it. Sadly, my original copy was lost in the mists of time, along with all the other games I owned as a child. But recently it was my birthday. I was 21 again, and my family gifted me a complete copy of Lost Valley of the Dinosaurs in excellent condition. I am buzzing. Just look at this beautiful box art. This is a masterpiece. The classic 1940s style T-Rex, reminiscent of the work of Charles Knight, the panicking colonial explorer sweating in the deep vegetation while his companions flee from the swooping pteranodons. The whole game, the complete experience, is captured in that one piece of art, and I couldn't love it more. There is a later edition of the game which came in a red box with, let's say, different art, and we'll move on. Thankfully, the stunning presentation doesn't end at the box. Every element of this game is crafted with care. On the reverse of the board there is a hand-illustrated map of the titular valley, with all the key locations marked on it. Swamps, dinosaur lairs, ammo stores, hidden caves. Then you flip the board over and you are presented with that same region, but now divided up into hexes. This was my first ever hex-based game, and it's also just so bloody gorgeous. Vibrant, detailed without being fussy, and full of the promise of adventure. And that board only becomes more magical as you set up the game. First you attach the vacuum-formed mountain ranges that enclose the valley to the specially cut recesses in the board edges. The volcano to the north, the pteranodon's nest to the west. I should mention there is a well-known misprint for this board where the valley art isn't oriented correctly to the cut recesses for the mountains. It doesn't affect gameplay, but if you are buying a copy of the game online, it's definitely something to watch out for. Having attached the mountains to the board, you have to put together the papercraft temple. Carefully does it. I have seen enough ripped temples on eBay, and we don't want any mishaps. The temple is positioned between the 2 mountains to mark the location for all the glorious gold your adventurers are trying to pilfer. That gold is represented with chunky plastic tokens which go on top of the temple. We then take the 6 pre-painted T-Rexes and place them in the 6 caves along the edge of the mountain range. We grab the pre-painted swamp monster, who is a very happy chappy, and we place him on any green arrow in the swamp. Then there is the pteranodon, which isn't pre-painted but does have 2 exciting play features: real flapping wing action and a spring-loaded snapping beak. I can't even begin to explain how awesome that was for a kid in the 80s, but here is a short demonstration as the pteranodon is placed in its bone-filled nest. Hey, why can't you ever hear a pteranodon going to the toilet? Because it has a silent P. To finish setting up the game, we place the chunky plastic lava tokens beside the board, along with the dice and the ammunition tokens. We shuffle the deck of beautifully illustrated adventure cards, remember to take out the spare card, and that deck is also placed to one side. Finally, each player gets 4 explorers which they place next to the waterfall that marks the secret entrance to the valley. And just look at it. If you aren't excited to play this game just from looking at that, check your pulse. The aim of the game is simple: traverse the deadly valley, snatch the gold from the temple, and then get it back to the hidden entrance without getting eaten. The first player to claim 1 treasure in a short game or 3 treasures in a long game, or the person with the most treasure if the game ends early for any reason, is the winner. On your turn, you first draw a card from the adventure deck. This deck is the beating heart of the game, throwing up random events and activating the dinosaurs. You simply follow the instructions on the card and then keep it if you were instructed to, or discard it. Perhaps you will find yourself short of water, which could cause one of your party to die from dehydration. Maybe you will find a gun, now you just need some ammunition. If you are lucky, you will find a chart to a secret passage, a shortcut to or from the temple to one of the 2 caves on the board. If you are unlucky, one of your explorers might stumble into the swamp where the hungry swamp monster lurks. But most of the time, these cards are going to let you control the dinosaurs. There are a variety of different cards that let you activate a number of T-Rexes, moving them a specific number of spaces. With certain limitations, no dinos in the swamp for example, the player who drew the card decides where the dinosaurs are going to go, and this is a chance to open up some space around your own explorers or to capture some rivals. If dinosaurs end their move on a space with 1 or more explorers on it, all those explorers are captured and taken to any empty dinosaur lair. There they must await their fate, as there is 1 card in the deck that instantly kills all explorers that are currently in a lair with a dinosaur. However, all is not lost for those explorers. If the dinosaur should leave the lair for any reason, explorers have a chance to scarper on their next turn. Additionally, you may get lucky and draw the Dinosaur Fight card, which lets you immediately move one of your explorers out of a lair and onto one of the spaces marked with T-Rex footprints. If you don't get to move the T-Rexes, you may get to activate the Swamp Monster instead, which is much less exciting. It just moves 1 space following the direction of the arrows, but it will instantly eat any explorer it lands on, so there's some extra spicy peril to be aware of. And then we have that gorgeous Pteranodon. Gaining control of this beastie is a real highlight, because you have so many options. Do you have an explorer stuck in the swamp or even in a dinosaur's lair? No problem. The Pteranodon can swoop down, grab them, and move them to a safe space of your choice. Or maybe you feel like being a jerk. Why not grab a rival explorer, preferably one who is carrying some treasure, and drop the poor sap right in front of the swamp monster? Or you could even put them in the very middle of the swamp, where it's going to take them a minimum of 2 turns to get out unless they are lucky enough to draw an escape card. As you can see from these cards and the possible interactions, Lost Valley of the Dinosaurs is a very competitive game, a race to collect the most gold while keeping as many explorers alive as possible. But there is a soft timer in place as well, the volcano. If, on your turn, you draw a Volcano Erupts card, then you immediately place 1 lava token on the volcano. Once the trail of lava reaches the valley floor, you start placing 3 lava tokens at a time, placing each token on any empty space adjacent to a lava token that is already in play. The lava will spread, and while it doesn't kill anything, it can cut off sections of the board, marooning explorers or dinosaurs and making it much harder to grab the treasure. And this lava mechanism again opens up lots of options. Do you want to shut off the temple because you are currently in the lead and want the game to end now? Do you want to enclose several dinosaurs to make it safer? Do you want to try to fence in some rival explorers? No, I'm not trying to say these are big decisions or that you have hundreds of possible actions on any given turn, but there's quite a lot going on here for a game about running away from T-Rexes. Having played your card, you roll a d6 for movement. You can then move one of your explorers up to that many spaces on the board, bearing in mind certain limitations like moving into a water space immediately ends your movement. Alternatively, you can choose to move one explorer who is in the swamp or on water 1 space. If you were lucky enough to find a gun card and you move to an ammo stash, you can discard that card to take 3 ammo tokens. These are brilliant as you can discard them to scare a T-Rex and move it a number of spaces equal to the number of ammo tokens you use. There is no limitation on how many times you can fire in 1 turn, and also, there doesn't appear to be any restriction in the rules based on proximity or line of sight. You can target any T-Rex. And yes, a common usage of the guns is to push dinosaurs out of your way, but there is also nothing stopping you from pushing a dinosaur onto a rival explorer, which would lead to them being captured and taken to one of the dinosaur's lairs. But if an explorer can make it across the valley, splash through the river or use the stepping stones, avoid the T-Rexes and spreading lava, and avoid the unwanted attention of the Pteranodon, they may make it to the temple. There, they can pick up a piece of gold, which is half the battle. Now they've got to get it back home, and everyone else is going to be doing whatever it takes to make sure they don't. Explorers captured by the Pteranodon or a T-Rex must leave their coin behind, and any other explorer can then claim it by landing on it by an exact count, which is actually pretty easy on a hex board. Fortunately, explorers with a coin have a lot of incentive to escape, and you can throw 2 dice for their movement, giving them a little more chance to outpace all the danger heading their way. And that's all there is to it. Scurry across the valley, grab a coin, scurry back, repeat until the game ends. But what makes the game so special is the theme, the stunning presentation, the beautiful artwork, and instantly accessible fun gameplay which involves just the right amount of backstabbing and vindictiveness. The one complaint I have always had is that sometimes the game can be a little slow going, especially if you are playing with less than 4 players. You don't often have the incentive to get more than one explorer into action until the one you are using is captured or dead. In that way, your team of explorers act more like extra lives, and often the valley doesn't feel full enough for the dinosaurs to be truly threatening. Furthermore, only moving up to 6 spaces per turn means it can take a while to get where you're going. But there are ways you can resolve this. For example, you could change the movement rule so that you roll 2 dice for movement, but you must use the value of each dice on different explorers if possible. Then, once you have an explorer with a piece of treasure, you can choose to split your roll between 2 explorers or use both dice to move the explorer with the treasure. If you want to move an explorer who is in the water or the swamp, you sacrifice one of the movement dice of your choice. A change like that would help to ensure there are lots of explorers milling about, which means you have more to think about, there is more chance of explorers getting in trouble, and there are more decision points. It would also be easy to add other simple rules, such as discarding an ammo token to scare off the Pteranodon, or even to push a rival explorer 1 space in the direction of your choice. There is certainly more than enough design space to tinker with, making the game something of a sandbox, and that seems only fitting for a game that captured my imagination so effortlessly as a child. And yes, this is just a kid's game, I'm not blind to that. But the designers acted like they were. The game is accessible, easy to understand with an engaging theme kids will love, but nothing is dumbed down. Nothing is treated childishly. The game offers real choice, real adventure, in a beautifully realised world that is far from a cartoon. Dinosaurs are illustrated with bloody mouths, explorers are depicted in deadly peril as they flee from the monstrous creatures. On your turn you are free to move in any direction, and there are multiple ways in which you can make it to the temple. When you get to take control of the dinosaurs, there are different options for screwing with your opponents or helping yourself, and there are various paths to victory. This is a game that respects its audience, even though that audience is young, and it absolutely understands the importance of thematic immersion combined with interesting gameplay mechanisms. And I knew, back in the 80s, Lost Valley of the Dinosaurs was special. It still is. And that's it from me for now. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please consider pressing the like button. If you really like this video, please consider subscribing if you don't already do so. And hopefully, I will see you all again very soon. Bye bye everyone. Bye bye.